in Southern California, Los Angeles, Orange County included, mobility is very tied to a vehicle, and without a car, you really can't get around. And so that was one of the main markers where we did hear so many stories of people who were struggling because they were undocumented. So when AB 60 was introduced and announced, that was a big sigh of relief, something that people could use as identification. And the purposes of these licenses is for people to live life.
La gente tiene la necesidad de salir a trabajar, a buscar el alimento para sus familias y pues tienen que manejar. Y sin licencia siempre la mayoría de las personas, incluyéndome yo, salíamos con el temor de que fuéramos a encontrar una patrulla, nos fuera a detener.
I remember I went to a DACA clinic and they were like, you don't qualify. It was difficult because when I will apply for scholarships or opportunities, they will expect me to have DACA and I didn't. So as a youth who, had to kind of figure it out my way in the system and find income to pay for rent and other things when I was 15, I kind of figured out that if I wanted to keep my job and I wanted to be able to pay for rent and other things, I just needed to drive without a license.
Living in the Bay Area, of course, the main challenge is, how to access affordable housing. And so we've seen that, people who used to live here have been moving out. And some people don't even have access, to public transportation, right? So in the Bay Area where people have to live farther and farther, from decision-making centers, either you try to adjust, your needs, right, to the existing public transportation system, or you're going to take the risk of driving around without a license.
Ha habido muchos accidentes para los ciclistas. So that's Don Luis, and we have him up there as to pay homage to him. Don Luis falleció a raíz de un accidente, fue atropellado por un vehículo. Y por eso, con más razón, la gente depende bastante en el uso del vehículo. No siempre era así, de que la gente tenía que tener seguro para sacar licencia de conducir. Tenemos un conjunto de leyes injustas. También en ese tiempo vemos la legalización del retén.
On Saturday, March 31st, the Modesto Police Traffic Unit will be conducting a driver's license and sobriety checkpoint at an undisclosed location within the city limits of Modesto.
Dependiendo de cuál código vehicular se utilizaba en contra de la gente, a los que descubrían sin licencia, ahí son 10 días obligatorios de cárcel. Entonces era mucho riesgo que corría la gente al pasar por un retén a raíz de simplemente tratar de llegar al trabajo, cosas cotidianas.
En el 2013, 2012 salíamos con nuestras cartulinas a avisarles a la gente que había un checkpoint adelante. Era pues para evitar que les quitaran su carro. Esto nos ayudó a tener más comunicación con la comunidad y pues empezamos a presionar a los políticos con una ley para aliviar de una manera más concreta el problema de la gente que no tenía licencias. Lo que hicimos fue recolectar firmas y a través de cerca de 4 meses llevamos más de 10,000 firmas a Sacramento.
¡Hoy firmamos! ¡El sábado marchamos!
Chants of celebration after a hard-fought political battle just inked with the signing of a new bill into law. Assembly Bill 60 now gives the green light to millions of unlicensed, undocumented immigrants to obtain their driver's license.
Estuvimos muy contentos, ¿verdad? Y contentas y felices de que el gobernador firmó la ley, pero a pesar de que se apruebe una buena ley en Sacramento, eso no necesariamente quiere decir de que va a haber implementación a nivel local.
Well, I think that the first challenge was how to make sure that, the community received, the right information. Africa is extremely diverse. You have the cultural and linguistic, diversity. I've just told you that, we did our outreach in English, in French, in Amharic, in Tigrinya, and also in Haitian Creole. And then another thing is when you go and take a test for a driver's license, it's done on computers. So what do you do for people who are not computer savvy?
O sea, estamos viendo el rojito. El rojito, ¿qué nos dice? Stop. Y la flecha arriba, ¿qué nos diría? Adelante. Siempre todas las señales nos van a indicar lo que viene adelante. No
Elaboramos un currículo. Y la idea detrás de ese currículo es, en esos grupos sí, vamos a revisar el manual del conductor, pero lo más importante era que la gente de la misma comunidad compartiera su experiencia, porque no podemos luchar juntos si yo no conozco a mi vecino, a la persona que está formando parte de la misma organización que yo.
El mayor porcentaje de las personas que participan en los círculos desde que iniciamos aquí en el Centro de Jornaleros son mujeres. Hemos sabido de casos concretos en donde nos han dicho, yo ya le enseñé a mi esposo ya tiene la licencia gracias a mí, o ya le enseñé a mi primo o a mi hijo.
When I got the license, I felt like the freedom of going anywhere and not feeling afraid that, that I was gonna be giving a ticket or arrested, all these things that I had in my mind. So I was able to get like other opportunities that I couldn't when I didn't have a driver license.
Overall, big picture, it was great. AB60 was going to happen, and then we started learning about the different requirements and how you need to prove who you are. Those standards were quite difficult, especially for those who were coming from countries such as China. Sometimes if you are a refugee or if you come as an asylee, it's very difficult to walk into your consulate office and ask for to renew your passport and such. DMV would put them into something called a secondary review. There was language barriers, so when that was not properly communicated, a lot of people felt that they were denied AB60 licenses.
If you go over the list, you're gonna see some Asian countries, but the bulk was African countries. So as such, we went to Sacramento for the first main meeting with DMV. But guess what? As of today, the issue remains. The bottom line is there. A lot of undocumented Africans, did not get, the AB60 driver's license.
Hay ciertas protecciones, ¿verdad? Pero las personas con una deportación previa, es la gente que tiene que, ahora más que nada, medir ese riesgo. Tengo más riesgo sacar una licencia con la posibilidad de que anden buscando a personas con deportaciones previas, o tengo más riesgo estar manejando en la calle sin licencia.
Now, if you don't have any red flags, then I would say go ahead and apply, because driving without a license can also put you in a really risky situation, right? And the reality is there's a lot of conservative sheriffs and conservative police officers that will stop someone just because of the way that they look. So having an AB60 driver license can protect you in those moments, so then they don't take your car away or they don't further criminalize you. And now that we have AB60 driver license, we need to think about what are some legislative protections that we can do in the state of California.
Con esta medida vamos a acortar las excepciones, requiriendo una orden firmada por un juez u otras circunstancias urgentes para así fortalecer la privacidad.
La idea detrás de poder sacar una licencia es la idea de la igualdad, ¿verdad? Sin embargo, cuando el gobernador puso su condición de que tenía que venir marcada la licencia, porque dice Federal Limits Apply, él había puesto ultimátum. O eso o nada. Parte de la razón por la cual lleva una leyenda la licencia AB60 es por la ley Real ID.
Well, Congress is poised to pass a law as an anti-terrorism measure that could have a significant impact on immigrant rights in this country. The Real ID Act would make sweeping changes to the nation's system for issuing driver's licenses and would overturn laws in 9 states that currently allow undocumented workers to obtain driver's licenses.
Lo que California ha decidido hacer es tener 2 licencias de conducir distintas.
Y nosotros en ese momento dijimos, nosotros queremos una licencia, lleve o no lleve las restricciones. Pues si tú la quieres para trabajar, pues es para lo que te sirve al final de cuentas, para que salgas en tu vehículo, vayas a tu fuente de trabajo, hagas lo que tienes que hacer y ahí estamos.
I was doing like an internship for an attorney and I had to go into a federal court and I showed them my AB60 license and they didn't allow me to inside the building. You know, I felt like a lot of frustration and also shame. And I remember they put me to the side and they waited until everyone went in, and then I had one of the securities escort me, and I just felt like this otherness because I had an AB60 driver license and I wasn't allowed into a federal building. It doesn't seem like a big thing, right? Like having a language on your driver license doesn't seem like a big thing, but it is a big thing because it allows this marginalization of people. I feel like language can be a really powerful tool to make people feel dehumanized.
Once the elections happened, and even now there's lots of hatred towards immigrants, hatred towards anybody who doesn't have the right papers, and having a AB60 license with the marker that says federal limits apply, that is very concerning to our community, and we're hearing that people are not carrying it around because it has those limits, going back to the way it was prior to AB60, and that is very sad because it was a whole movement that had to happen to bring this about.
For a lot of undocumented African immigrants, it is the fear, crippling our communities. They just forgot about AB60. But having said so, I think that, even if, the numbers are not really huge, I think that on the whole, it's always something positive, to be driving around and knowing that you have in your pocket a document that allows you, to do so. As an immigrant, there's no doubt, and as a Black person, there's no doubt that, I know that the president doesn't like me, because of the way I look, but do I feel bad about myself? Hell no. I feel great. Always remember that we're not alone. We have ourselves, among ourselves, we have each other.
Cuando pensamos en los derechos humanos, es curioso que la idea de poder trasladarse de una parte a otra no se considera un derecho humano, aunque sí miramos que el transporte ha sido fundamental en varias de las luchas aquí en los Estados Unidos. Podemos pensar en el boicot de los autobuses de Montgomery, ¿verdad? Entonces, podemos mirar ese vínculo entre la lucha por los derechos civiles radicada en el transporte, en ese caso público, con la lucha de hoy en día. Esto nada más es un paso más hacia un futuro donde hay más respeto y más derechos para más gente.
I'm free to drive, literally. It seems like for a lot of U.S. citizens, it's just like something you do when you turn 16. But for undocumented people, like the freedom to drive was something that we earned just in 2013 in California. It's inhumane to don't allow people to survive. As a youth, I wasn't working because I wanted to, I was working because I have to. But there's not really a choice on a lot of things that immigrants experience. That's why organizing is so important, because you provide immigrant people with a choice, with a power to make change.
What I saw was when the community had a need and they were actively involved in changing a process, that I don't think it's any organization that did it. It's really the community and their voices and their power that was flexed, that made AB 60 better.
Tienen temores. La gente sigue teniendo temores, pero también a pesar de los temores, somos una raza que a pesar de todos nuestros problemas que nos ponen en el camino, nosotros buscamos la manera de salir adelante, ya sea brincándolo, dándole la vuelta, pasando por abajo, pasando por arriba, pero una barda, un obstáculo no nos va a detener, entonces tenemos que ser lo suficientemente inteligentes para poderlo hacer nada más.